Videos today or any day. You know that this January 19th or 20th, 2022 has been some of the most excruciating confrontation with most excruciating agony. The kind of fear, the kind of terror, and the dimensions of the terror that make me a prisoner of my own body, a prisoner of my fears, a prisoner of my labors done and undone, and having done and yet to be done, and a prisoner of myself, a prisoner of my own, a prisoner of which is even a joyful thing. And I would rather, having said all that, have this kind of day, which I do not believe is the worst day you can have, but it's the worst day for me. And that's bad enough. And the worst day for anyone is bad enough as far as I'm concerned. There's no need to make it worse by starting to compare it with other people. And because it's not necessary even to do so. Because I would rather say these things than pretend that I could sufficiently empathize with somebody else's worst day. That I could sit back and go, oh, too bad for you. And that in a strange, not very pleasant way, I'm also learning what it must be like to be in other people's lives. If you've ever felt anything like imprisoned by your life, I bear no disrespect to anyone when you say you do kind of know a little bit about what it feels like to feel imprisoned by dread and fear, and to know that there are always some good, if generalized, reason to feel these things, if only because there are orders of feeling and sense and intuition that we do not commonly recognize, even by our neighbors and our languages, which are roughly equivalent and similarly torturous and meant to be, and capable of meting out torture as much as any group of people who are marshaling many wonderful, commendable resources such as that may survive their childhood or their birth or generations of human warfare and internecine hatred of some unknown curse, but that genetics, evolution, and the birth of Christ should take care of it all for us. Inevitable. I've done some of the greatest writing of my life in the last week, as though in prison. My heart just needs to find something, and I come home today. My mom is peaceful. My mom wanted to go out right away and go buy me some pinto beans because I ordered some pinto beans from a survival company in Canada, and although they've told me that they've shipped, they haven't arrived here. I'm not sure if they're going to at this point. Taking excruciatingly long, and in this way I've been fasting for about a week because I don't mean to be silly when I say, because I have a certain amount of food to eat every day, where others may not, that to not get my pinto beans, living an athletic lifestyle with many critical enough emotional demands for me, and then some, if I don't get a certain amount of cooked pinto beans and quinoa every day, I'm not getting the protein profile I need. And essentially, in my world, I start to feel empty, weak. Doesn't matter what I eat. I'm empty all the time. Which only emphasizes the emptiness and coldness of my world. And then to come home, my mom, all of its warmth, and that there are important things that I feel that seem just absolutely sketchy, when I'm out there, which is that everyone I meet, from the fire marshal who came to help with a little bit of smoke I sit outside, saw this at the side of the soil because someone put a cigarette down in the summer. I don't like them. I don't like the people who live here. I don't like random human beings. I don't like the way they are. And I explain this to myself because in a way that I think might be helpful to people, not that you would want to feel this way, but that humans live, for reasons I've been going onto for thousands of hours of my life, they live in portrayal. They play roles. Personality is itself a fiction that is commonly held and employed for its expedience, and makes it compatible with some of the worst devices that general human speech and obedience tend to employ to negative effect upon other human beings without ever having to suffer any inhibitions. In fact, playing roles and living in certain levels of portrayal that lower the kinds of inhibitions that we don't even think we've lost anymore and have gained nothing but death instead. Sounds a little negative for some people, but it's how I feel. It's how I feel feeling the fear that I feel. And if my words don't come across, maybe my feelings will, because there are things that we feel that words are not adequate to convey, precisely because we are often made to feel in certain ways that interrupt our ability for language development. In other words, language isn't just to get through the day and buy your fucking lottery ticket, or get someone to pass you the salt, or even to write awesome poetry or your dissertation. Language is to give the voice of our emotional and instinctual body and make sure it has a place in the world. Whether or not, and especially because it is likely nothing to do with what the world says we're supposed to involve ourselves with and accept and say or not and behave. It's like, no, my anger, my fear is more real to me today than anything. It will now take me years to process the shock and the information and the education from that shock, now that I can start to harvest, hopefully peacefully. As each day goes by, I will feel a little bit safer, because I came home today and nature was positive and said, listen to your body, things are probably okay. Hey buddy, he's up. I gotta go get him. Hey. I'm home early and you're up. She's gonna come home soon. Hey, there's the camera. He's 101 years old. He's in perfect health, aren't you? Yes, you are. Your wolf friend is home. Your wolf brother. Along with my mom, this is the most positive creature in my life, so you can bet I love him a lot. Me? Yeah. His health is primary to me, along with my mom and my own. I hate going through weak periods because I feel like I'm not enough for them. It makes me feel even more imprisoned, helpless. If I can't keep myself strong, how can I be any good to people around me? I spend many miles trying to find strength for my home, and I need some help myself now, man. I need a little help. You know? Hey. I'm not hurting him, but he loves this. It might be hard to see for the first time, but he likes me grabbing his snout. And there's enough trust between us that he's not being trapped and shocked and demented by this experience. He's grown to like it. It started with telling him off when he came in from the rain, and then telling him off when he came in at all, and then noticing after he'd had a bunch of teeth removed that he liked his gums massaged, and then noticing that he just loves to, eyesight and hearing and things go away. He loves to be touched, and he loves to have his snout touched and grabbed and held, and he'll move his head around, and I'm very, very capable, as anyone would be if you have a trusting relationship with your animal. Just like, as soon as he shakes or jogs or says his little physical safe word, he's up. He's on the floor within 10 seconds or less, 5 seconds. He's like, once he wants to go, he goes. He knows that. Hey, he's got to do that now. Hey. Right? Now, when he's doing that, I don't shove his head in and make that an uncomfortable experience. See? I know exactly when he has to cough, and he knows that. It makes him feel good. And working with his body, he needs to cough. Then we need to cough. Yeah. That's a trusting animal right there. Hey, ooh. And you can just hold it steady, and he'll just like, this is good. I just felt crappy for days. And I think there's a certain amount of, oh, hey, you want to go pee somewhere? Ooh. You might want to go outside. Let's see if you want some fresh air. Fresh air? You want Okay. Sometimes you can go towards the open door. Okay, can we go outside? There you go. I gotta run a bath. Okay. In my life, I've learned to feel almost automatically apologetic for having strong emotions, and certainly as a child for being fearful. Taking every wonderful thing about me to one side, I have always been a fearful human being. I know what it's like to be afraid. I know what it's like to feel afraid all the time. I've listened to people who live in their cars or tell me about, oh, so many people are caught up with fear and anxiety. It's like, I am. They probably are too. I'm pleased to report, oops, that adjustment of my shoes was absolutely perfect and well timed, so no hip issues today, thankfully. you can bet when I'm feeling a lot of fear, I'm very aware of the kind of thoughts I have and the kind of narratives I'm running in my mind. What am I afraid of? Why am I afraid of it? Why should I be afraid of it? How often does that occur to me? How do I dismantle my fears? How do I tell myself that's not something you need to be afraid of? And yet, it's something you might need to be afraid of because there is a sense of real specter of that, but not necessarily going to go the way you think. Right? Some things are things that just could have happened or threatened to happen, but they may not be likely to happen. And those things can be things that threaten our sense of safety or freedom, sense of peace of mind enough, even if nobody say means it. You're not looking to become a hostile person, but you feel threatened enough that no, hostility doesn't enter into it. That's going to come next week or the week after, when I start to recover, and then I have to convert that to education. It's like I finally learned enough, so I don't like people. Let's go. Did some smudging. I just really need to have a good sleep tonight. A hot bath now. Oh, fuck. Okay. Well, that's hot. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. All right. You're gonna say, like, it's so hot, like, you would wonder if you saw the temperature of this bath, how the hell I get myself in here. Which begs the question, why the hell do I live so that I need to take this bath? I don't know. I started walking a lot one winter, and I would just basically be in a pair of jeans or whatever, and I'd get cold, I'd get on the really awful cold bus and come home, and I'd run a hot bath, and I'd put about 10 or 15 seconds of cold water in it, and I'd slide in. It's nice, you put that bit of water, cold water, now it's not so hot, right? It's like, this is the same temperature as it is in the hot water tank. So, and you start acquainting my legs with it, and I'm not sure if it's more efficient. I found that I started to, I put 12 seconds of cold water, I put 10 seconds of cold water, and it would be a difference between 10 seconds and 8 seconds, 8 seconds and 12 seconds, as to whether or not it was hot enough for me. And eventually, one day I decided, what if I just don't put any? I put 3, 4, what if I put no cold water? And I was like, I'd get in like, oh fuck, I can't do this. And then slowly, instinctually, like a dance, I found I could put my feet in and then sit down, put my feet out, and then just sit here. Put my legs in. Okay. And then when I'm ready, slide my main body into it. I'm so thankful, can I just say it to nature in heaven, that my home is done, my mom is happy, no negative phone calls on her phone today, and hello, hey, buddy's up. Mom's home, getting the main body in, which is actually, strange enough, very satisfying. Can I say it's difficult? You got to do it. You wouldn't want to be jostling around in here too much, but and then you think you got it, and you do. It's like, but your back and your butt, all that, right?
I've noticed there's a difference between just sitting in hot water and then what I do is I introduce myself to the hot water. So I put my feet in. If I put my feet in, as well as my hands and my arms, it's 10 times more overwhelming. Because it's just like, oh, oh, or at least twice. And it's like, oh. And then if I can open my legs, and I can move my body a little bit. And essentially, you can see how cold you are and how hot you are. And it's kind of like matter and antimatter, except they don't really annihilate each other so much as they just find a new equilibrium. So my body's cold enough that this heat will be absorbed. Okay. And I'm sweating a bit now. And I'll drink some cold water and I'll let some fall on my chest, which almost gives me, I think that even just that little bit of cold water can make the bath a little more accommodating, because it's just like, why don't you put some cold water in it? It's like, fuck. Because I notice the more heat I can expose myself to for longer, the better I'll sleep tonight. And the better I can do what I call the first immersion, the more hotter it is. And the fact that it's staying hot and I'm taking my time tells me that it's hot enough. That I may not have gotten as cold, but sometimes you don't think you're as cold, but you're not cold in the same way. Because you introduced yourself to the day differently, even a couple hours later, or because of the mist and the rain of the West Coast and near the oceans and rivers, it's easy to think that you've done it more than you have when you got into a hot bath. So I've got to be aggressive. Gave my heart a break, go back in, still very hot, and again continue or restart heating. I can move my body around a bit more now. It hurts a bit around the pelvis, right? And now I'm getting close to thinking I can put my head in with some difficulty, and that will bring the temperature down a couple degrees right there. So it does a lot of heating very quickly. And it has a psychological effect. Once you get the hot water over your head, you start to begin more of a way to getting out of the bath. Scratch the head, which is pretty much all the shampooing I do. Okay. Still so very hot. Okay. Let's sit up. And give the heart a break. It's different every bath. It's a rest. I can pull myself out, give my heart a break without leaving the bath, stay aggressive, get back in it, and it's not as hard to get the head in as other things, but it is important because without it, it's not the same. So now I can move around a bit more. Very hot. Get my feet out. So it's an easy exposure. Stay, and then I want to get out. And that can be as much anxiety as anything else. Woo! Right? Yesterday was even harder because fighting off negativity and what I call the very real, if demonic, insults to the flesh. Okay, stay aggressive. Oh, things are getting nice and heated. Still hurts a bit. So you're doing a lot of good work now because it's movable. After a couple of minutes or so, take a break, get some water, move on. Oh, yeah. My dad can see me now. We'll be back again. Still hot. More water. I'm gonna leave the bathroom. Getting the feet hot, getting the body hot. It's not even really when it was the high winter or the depth of winter. Okay. That's good. And the longer you can stay, even if it's uncomfortable, it's still hot, is good. You want to get out with all your might, but stick it out, get the most out of it. Here you can subject the chill to the most sustained heat because you're more comfortable. Okay. We're done. Easy bathroom. And open door. See that? Oh, fuck. Breathing heavy. Good run. Let's get up for a second. It's gonna take a second. There we go. Almost there. So that's a big heart thing right there. That clears it right out. And then I'm going to do one more, which is different, easier, sometimes not as easy, but is every bit as necessary. Okay. There we go.